Welcome back to News Geelong on this Wednesday evening. The Winchelsea Integrated Neighbourhood Community Hub, or Winch, W-I-N-C-H, will be a multifunctional community facility for the whole Winchelsea community, servicing 22 Winchelsea-based clubs, groups and service providers, as Ian Nichols reports.
This is the Eastern Reserve at Winchelsea, home of the Winchelsea Blues. In the background you can see fairly modern netball courts. They've only been there a couple of years, and we're standing in the historic stand. But very soon there's to be a $2.5 million makeover of this entire community hub. About 20 user groups will be able to take advantage of something very special here in Winchelsea. We're talking with the chairman of the Board of Management and also Councillor Dean Webster, the Mayor of the Surf Coast Shire.
You can see the facility behind us, which is a little bit tired, but we've just put out the tender and it came in at $1.93 million for the construction of the new building, and the whole project cost is around $2.5 million, which includes demolition and power improvements. But this is led by the community and led by Barry and his members on the Eastern Reserve Committee, and combined with assistance from the federal government and council support, we've been able to fund the project to $2.5 million, which is great. And it's a community hub, so it's user groups. There's 20 odd user groups that have been identified here.
Well, Barry, perhaps we could say you're going to be able to do a lot more now in Winchelsea than perhaps you were hamstrung in the past.
Yes, we certainly are. One of the main things is the facility in Winchelsea to be able to accommodate at least 220 people to sit down to have a wedding or in first-class facilities. There's nowhere else in the town that we can have that number, so we're hoping that the whole community around will be able to use the facility, and not just for functions but weddings and things like that for the future.
And it comes on top of already some wonderful improvements here as well.
Yes, look, over the last 5 years we've been able to achieve resurfacing of the oval with recycled water and also irrigation system. It's now just taking place over the 3 years and is starting to look really good. And we've just completed the new netball courts, which we feel is probably as good as in the Surf Coast Shire and probably in the whole region, really. And it's really exciting because it has extended a lot more participation from the girls.
And Councillor Webster, we see this is not just a win-win situation for sporting bodies and community groups, but it puts this part of the world, the northern end of your shire, if you like, on the map again. Yes,
and it's very important to us that Winchelsea is our second main growth node in the Surf Coast Shire, and with just recently we've sent a planning scheme amendment to the Minister. There'll be new land rezoned just to the west of here, and also there'll be land rezoned hopefully shortly immediately to the south of the reserve, which as a part of that process and as part of the Eastern Reserve Management Plan, which this building is a major component of, we'll be acquiring land as a contribution from the developer, and council will be purchasing land for future expansion of the recreation facilities here.
At the Eastern Reserve in Winchelsea, this is Ian Nichols for News Geelong.
Thank you, Ian. The Geelong Showgrounds recently rumbled away to the sounds of the 2011 Geelong Vintage Machinery and Tractor Rally, one of the biggest and best displays of its type in Australia, as our resident News Geelong Revhead, Meryl Friend, reports.
We're here at the Showgrounds and there's the biggest display of vintage and working machinery here. And talk about boys and their toys. There's people that have been involved in working with these steam engines and machinery for decades.
We've been having this event since the early 80s. It started as a very small show which came from having so much machinery in the shed. We wanted to show it to more people. So we got together and we asked the president of the Showgrounds at the time, and everybody was in agreement for us to expand. We used to take up the whole Showgrounds, but it got out of hand, so we've sort of downscaled a little bit, and now we just have it spread out alongside Show Alley.
You said that you've been involved with these sorts of steam engines and vintage things for 35 years. What got you started?
Thanks for saying 35 years. It explains the grey hair, I guess. I started when I was probably at primary school. I used to hang over the fence in the vintage machinery shed, which used to be a lot shorter in those days. And I asked, how do you get to become a member here? And Ted Stevens, he's one of the foundation members, said, you just got to come here and help us pack up.
Oh, well, yes, I've been on the land all my life, but the vintage side of it started in about 1970 when this section started here at the showgrounds. We had a couple of old tractors and engines and that on the farm that we used for belt work and that sort of thing, and they were the first things we brought in, and then we got onto the traction engine that had been in the family since 1917, and we restored that. That would have been in the 70s when we restored the traction engine and brought it in here, and it's been here ever since. And
it's a back actor trench digging machine, yeah.
And how old is it?
Well, from the late 1940s, and but the design and the layout of the machine is exactly the same as what was being built in the mid-1920s. And instruction book I got from a fellow in the USA that's got one of these machines. His 1926 machine is exactly the same as this one, apart from the engine. Everything else is the same layout and design.
You've just got it going?
Yeah, just tickled it into life. It's got a fair bit more work to be done to make it in good operating condition, but it's just enough of it going to get it on and off the truck and make a display.
At the showgrounds, Meryl Friend, News Geelong.
Thank you, Meryl. Coast Action Coast Care programs were established in 1995 to encourage and support the hard work of volunteers working to make a difference all along our beautiful coastline. Meryl Friend reports.
I'm here in Anglesea at an activity run by Coast Action Coast Care, one of the 300 of free events run across Victoria at this time of year. I caught up with Jo Ludbrook, one of the facilitators, to tell us about some of those activities.
Summer by the Sea is a statewide program across the Victorian coastline on public land. There's about 300 free activities across the coast, so there's activities for everyone, everywhere in Victoria.
And give me a couple of ideas of what people can do.
Sure. So there's all sorts of different things depending on what sort of environment you're in and the providers and their expertise in the area. So today we've got a kayak about to happen. We've had some snorkels this morning, rock pool rambles, mud flats walks, geology adventures, boat trips, all sorts of different things over summer.
And what sort of ages do you cater for?
Different activities for all ages. There's bird watching trips. There's everything from really, really casual, low impact walks to a little bit more extreme stuff like the snorkelling and the kayaking. Well, there's all sorts of different things that they'll get out of it. They'll obviously learn a little bit about their local environment, or if they're tourists, a little bit about the biodiversity of the area that they're looking at. There's lots of natural values along the Victorian coast, so they'll learn a little bit about the marine biodiversity, a little bit about coastal hotspots and some habitats along the Victorian coastline, and hopefully learn a little bit about how to protect some of our wildlife. So they might learn about the wildlife rescue phone number, or how to do things in the home that might have an impact in the coastal and marine environment.
And how can people actually find out about the full program?
There's a website that you can go to find out more about the program. If you Google Summer by the Sea or type in www.dsc.com, you can go to the coasts section of the website and find out more about the activities. And there's also local promotions right across the coast. We've got local programs, and you can also call your local facilitator.
Oh, wonderful events you've got here, and look forward to seeing people enjoying themselves and learning more.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to seeing people along the coast.
Thanks, Jo. In Anglesea, this is Debbie Meaney for News Geelong.
Thank you, Meryl. As we go to a break on News Geelong, we'll return with our sport and weather reports after this.